What's up, resellers? I'm Rebecca, and you're watching Rebecca the Reseller. Thanks for joining me today for my 2021 goals video. So, guys, I'm doing it a little bit differently. I'm kind of thinking about everything a little bit differently. So, I'm just going to go through a few slides where I put down some notes and some information, and we're going to call it goals. One of the reasons is that everything is crazy. And so I just literally can't wrap my head around setting realistic, smart goals or the types of in-depth goals that I normally do because I don't know what's going to happen. Everything is crazy. And so I just can't see spending the time and getting excited about a set of goals that may or may not have any chance of actually happening. So, first thing is everything's crazy. Second thing is I'm not making the same kinds of goals that I used to. And I love making goals. And I do it often and I retool and change things up often, and I have been really trying to do less and less of that and really fine tuning the things that make me happy and that I want to spend time on and that are making me money. So we're going to kind of go through some of those things and you'll get some updates from prior things and moving forward. So there's so many unknowns right now in life and in platforms, and that's kind of leading me to the numbers and goals that I'm going to share with you. Basically, you know, we don't know what's going on with the pandemic. We don't know if it's going to potentially get worse. We don't know what's going on with the election. Like, anything can happen, and so life is a little bit unsure. And then platforms also have been making changes that affect how we run our businesses. And I'm fine to always regroup, pivot, change things up, adapt. I get that. I'm fine to do that. But it does make it very difficult to plan the road ahead for yourself. So I have some loose things that I'm going to try to stick to, and I'll be sharing those with you. Also, you have to be ready for anything that may be coming down the pike. And so I'm trying to set things up knowing that things are going to change. And as you guys may know, I am a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I have my hands in a lot of different things. It may seem to you perhaps crazy and disjointed, but rest assured, I usually always have a plan and everything usually does fit into one bucket or another. And so for me, it just helps me feel fulfilled in a lot of different ways. Reselling fulfills certain things. My creative things get fulfilled in other ways. My, want to teach and connect and have community get fulfilled in other ways. And so I'll be sharing all that with you. And then if you've watched my channel or seen on Instagram, you know that I have this thing called the 4 ways to 4K. So I'll talk about that real quick. And that's basically just saying that I want to replace the income that I left behind when I left my corporate job to be a stay-at-home mom to Geo. I would like to at least replace that salary that I made, which ended up, it was in like the $60,000 to $70,000 range, but after all said and done, I usually ended up taking home about $4,000 a month. So that's what I'm trying to replace, and then it's 4 pillars that make that happen. And then homeschool. Like, I have no idea what's going on with homeschool. Right now we're homeschooling, but then Gio was supposed to start like an accelerated program in January. It means that he would go to school from January to May for 6 hours a day. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. It might not. So I can't plan my life thinking he is when he might not, and I may need to keep homeschooling. We don't know. And then, oh, that should have had a bullet point. Automated and passive. Like right now, I just want to keep spending the time that I have, which is small chunks of time here and there, on things that can generate automated and passive income. I really can't spend a lot of time doing active trading time for money tasks. It doesn't work for me in my current season. And so everything that I'm working on and everything that's included that I'm going to talk about is really focused on automated and passive. And eventually that will change over time when I have more time. But for right now, this is what we have to do. So here are some overall numbers. I'm tracking right now at about this on ThredUP right now, which is about 1,000 to 2,000 payouts. $1,000 to $2,000 a month in payouts from ThredUP. So that's where I'd like to stay. I don't think I'll be doing any much more than that. For Poshmark, though, I would like to increase it. So there's some thoughts there that I'll share when we get into it. But for Poshmark, I'd like to get into $2,000 to $4,000 a month on Poshmark. My Rebecca the Reseller, which is YouTube, information products, and affiliate, I'd like to increase that to about $2,000 to $4,000 a month. And I put this as a very broad range because who knows? And that gives me room to start in the beginning of the year at like 2,000 and then end the year perhaps at 4,000. So it's a range, it's loose, it's open, it's flexible. And then the next area is 1 to 2,000 on pod, which is print on demand, and we'll talk about that, and my digital stuff. So basically I have kind of, this really isn't the 4 pillars, that's the 4 ways to 4K, but I broke it down this way because it made the most sense. Like ThredUP is a big player that deserves its own bucket. Obviously, it's coupled with Poshmark as both reselling things, but those two each are their own thing. Rebecca the Reseller, everything goes under there, and then print on demand and digital will be a separate thing. Now, as far as paying myself, if you've watched my channel, you'll know all of 2019, I didn't pay myself anything. Everything that I made went back into the business. I did not issue myself any type of salary. Prior to 2019, I did pay myself salary, and the most I ever paid myself was $1,800 in a month. Everything else went into the business. I had different kinds of expenses than many people because I had a storage unit, I had a photographer, I had a virtual assistant, and at times I had at one point 6 virtual assistants for all the different businesses. So my overhead is vastly different, or was vastly different from a lot of people. So you might think to yourself, you've only ever paid yourself $1,800. That's not what I've ever made. I think my biggest month to date was like in the $8,000 gross sales range, if I'm not mistaken. But as far as paying myself, the most I've ever paid myself was $1,800. And then in 2019, I didn't pay myself at all. And then this year, I consistently paid myself in 2020 $1,000 a month, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but for me, it was very important to be saving for my taxes, to have a business fund, and I'm so glad I did. And I'll probably do a reseller finances video update. I have one, and it was very successful as far as getting the information out to you guys, and I think a lot of people found it helpful that watched it. So part of that is paying myself a minimal salary that is consistent, that I can rely on throughout the year, and then quarterly and semi-annually paying myself bonuses, which some I couldn't due to the pandemic and some I was able to. So that's really good, and I'm really happy with how that all worked out in 2020 in progress from 2019. This year going forward in 2021, I'd like to increase that to starting off the year at $1,500 salary and ending the year at $2,000 salary plus the bonuses that I work in quarterly and semi-annually. So that's really, kind of where I want to be as far as salary goes. Now, with reselling, sourcing, $2,000 a month max to spend on sourcing. 90% of it's going to be online with bulk pre-owned. Well, actually, I put Goodwill in there, but that's not online. So 90% of it's online, 10% of it in person because I just can't get out that much. So bulk pre-owned, Goodwill, swap.com, ThredUP, Poshmark, Style Encore, where I go in and pay up for certain items, or Style Encore clearance, where they have their 90% off, and then purchasing wholesale items for the boutique. So basically on sourcing, I'm running the gamut, and that is time consuming, but it's also very efficient. So it's hard to explain. Maybe I'll do a specific video about how I source and what I'm looking at and all that kind of thing. But for right now, the sourcing is the thing that's changed so much. And it's all good, but it is a learning curve for me as well when you have to switch up your game, which we all had to do in 2020. So going forward, I'm still primarily going to keep an online sourcing strategy, with some in bulk and some that I pick out myself with very small amounts of in-person sourcing when I can. So that's sourcing. Now, there are a couple of projects that I want to do for fun, but it's very much, I can't do it consistently. I don't know if it's actually going to happen that I'd like to try to do in 2021. So I put them on my for fun list. One is when Ross does their huge clearance sale in January, depending on how the pandemic is going and depending on options I have to be able to get out of the house. I would like to hit that sale up because that was a big source for me this year. I'd like to do some more liquidation, like order a pallet. I want to save up some cash for it and do another pallet. I think it'll be good content. It'll be fun for me. I haven't done one in a long time, and I just think it would be fun. Airport lost luggage. I don't know if it's going to work out. If Gio goes to school, I probably can, because you can't take your kids to go pick up the auctions that you win. So people really enjoyed those videos. It was a fun adventure, so I'd like to do it again, but it may not be till into the year more. And then the dry cleaners. So I had some success with getting some free inventory from dry cleaners, so I thought maybe I would try to do that for fun again and make some videos about it. So I mean, these ones that are for fun, it's just kind of if it happens, great. I'm not going to depend on it. It's not part of my main sourcing strategy, but I'd like to look ahead to some of those as fun projects. So in reselling for selling, again, ThredUp is going to be a major player. I'm looking to get about $1,000 to $2,000 a month in payouts out of it, provided that whatever goes on with that platform will allow for that moving forward. And I'm planning to still send in about 2 to 4 boxes a week pending my label situation. So as long as I can, I will. When I can't, then I can't. For Poshmark, right now I'm doing 3 relists per day of my boutique items. But what I would really like to do is go back to kind of what I used to have with some caveats. What I used to have was some thrifted items on well, actually, all my thrifted items were on Poshmark and I had boutique on top of it. And I liked that combination. Now, I really do want to continue to have ThredUp as my main thrifted area, but I think there are some pieces that can do well on Poshmark, and I kind of miss a little bit doing some of the reselling work and having that thrill of having thrifted items on Poshmark. I'm missing it a little bit. So I think what I'll do is try to really focus on building a higher ASP Poshmark closet for thrifted items and really not curate it necessarily like for a certain look or person, but just be more selective, be more thoughtful, do more research. And that is going to require time, which means I'm not going to really place a lot of craziness on myself. I'm just going to make some criteria of a thrifted, item has to be listed for $50 or higher, and then all of my boutique items, and then basically try to start the year off with 5 listings a day, combination of new boutique, relisting, and thrifted items, and then move into slowly ending the year at about 20 listings per day and see how I can handle that, because again, a lot of it's going to depend on if Gio's in school or not. There's no way I can do 20 listings if Gio's not in school and I'm homeschooling. But if he is and I have 5 full days to do whatever the heck, you better believe I'm going to be doing 20 listings a day. So I'm putting 2,000 to 4,000 a month, trying to give myself the higher ASP area to work in on Poshmark and see what that world looks like, because that's not the world that I played in before when I had thrifted items on Poshmark, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm leaving it very general and very open, but that's what I'm looking to move into. For Rebecca the Reseller, which is basically all of the social media stuff, it includes YouTube, doing 3 videos a week. That seems to be a pretty sweet spot for me. I do Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. For the most part, all the videos go up at 10, and that seems to be a good pace for me, so I'm going to keep that up. Then on Instagram, I've only been posting 1 post a day. I really want to keep doing 3 posts per day. I've recently increased it, and I want to try to keep that pace, if not more, and then doing daily stories. I'm terrible at stories, and I really want to challenge myself to do that. Courses. I've taken a lot of courses now. I've even taken a course on how to make a course, and I'm excited to actually develop 2 of my own courses in 2021. So more information will be coming on that. Maybe something interesting will be coming sooner, but I'm really excited to be building on information products that take all of the best information that I have and put it in a way that is efficient for someone to purchase. And it doesn't mean that it's different from YouTube or better than YouTube or anything, whatever, but it's another avenue. And so I think for some people, the YouTube route is the where they want to learn and they're not going to pay for courses. And then there are people that would prefer to pay for a course, get everything that they wanted on a particular topic from start to finish, soup to nuts, and they're happy to pay for that. And that's different kinds of people. And so I'm really starting to see the value of courses, and I would like to be involved in that world and then develop 4 new reseller products. So for a while I was like pumping out reseller products in my Etsy store, then I kind of took a break, and now I'd like to kind of get on a more cohesive schedule where I'm thoughtfully developing specific products that help my business, and then I make them available to you guys in my Etsy store, and I want to try to shoot for 4 next year. So that's 1 per quarter. We'll see how that goes. So that's what's going to be going on in the Rebecca the Reseller realm. And then print on demand and digital. So that includes my Amazon merch where I design t-shirts and put them on Amazon. And once the work is done of putting them on, making the design and putting it on Amazon, it's basically passive income. And right now I'm at about $800 to $1,000 a month pretty consistently on my Amazon account. And unless Geo goes to school, there's nothing else I'm going to be able to do with it. I'm just going to rely on that money to continue to come in and pray that nothing going on with the pandemic should mess with that, because there was a period early on in the 2020 side of the pandemic where they did shut merch down so they could focus their efforts on getting essentials out to people, which I completely understand, but it did mess up my cash flow that month because I didn't have any sales on merch. So it's something that I'm keeping in the back of my mind, that money is nice to have and it's good to rely on it, but I can't fully rely on it just in case it happens to go away. I also have a digital downloads Etsy shop that I'm going to dabble with myself a little bit more, put a little more into it when I can, and perhaps even hire a VA to help me with. So I'm not really sure what's going on, and that's why I kind of put here no expectations on production for now, because this is kind of an afterthought. This third pillar right now is really not a priority. Reselling and Rebecca the Reseller, those are my priorities right now because it's something that I can influence the most, I have more control over, and the money is happening now. Whereas print on demand, it ends up being very automated and passive, which I want, but it does require a lot of upfront work with not necessarily the upfront payout, and I can't do that right now. So there are a couple of accomplishments that I'd like to see happen in this year. I'm managing the time here. 2021 accomplishments. So as I said earlier, I'm going to start the year off by paying myself about $1,500, which is $500 more than this current year. I'm going to end the year by paying myself $2,000 a month, which is basically doubling my salary. So that's really exciting, and that's half of where I want to be, and I have 1 more year to get there. So if I can double from this year to next year and next year to the following year, I'll be all set. I need to do an official appropriate entity, and I'm not going to get all into the wherefores, but I had something, I changed it, and now I need to kind of settle into something new. So as that process happens, I'll probably share information about it, but as far as like my business and the name and the legal entity and all of that, I need to do some work on there. I'd like to launch a website, blog, store. That probably won't happen till later in the year, but I am going to put it on this year's list of accomplishments that I want to really get into. I think that would be a great project for me, and I'm really looking forward to it. I would like to launch on LinkedIn. I don't know what this is going to look like, but I used to be a professional on LinkedIn, and then I became a stay-at-home mom, and I kind of went into a nowhere shell. And now I have a business, and I've never really resurfaced on LinkedIn. And I think that I have been very scared to do it. I want to do some more content on this, so stay tuned. And if this resonates with you, let me know in the comments. But it's not that I'm afraid to tell people. I'm all over the internet right now with my Rebecca the Reseller, but it's a different set of people, and I just pray that nobody from my old world would find me in my new world. And then I thought to myself, but I am proud of everything that I've done. So why wouldn't I want to connect the old professional Rebecca with the new business owner Rebecca? And so I think this year it's going to be a journey and a process, but I think I'm ready to do it. So we shall see. And then I'd like to create a holistic, regular content strategy. I go fluctuating up and down. I've been on YouTube, off YouTube, taking a break from YouTube, 3 posts a day, 1 post a day, 3 videos a week, 1 video a week. I need to look at all the things that I'm doing and create a holistic content strategy that makes sense for me, in line with the courses that I release and the products that I release, in line with the life that I lead and that I want to share as a real life reseller mom person, in line with all of the business things that I do and sharing those things with you so that you can learn, grow, and whatever with your business as well. So I feel like I need to be more holistic with my content. QuickBooks or GoDaddy or something, I've had my own spreadsheet. I've paid someone to create a custom spreadsheet, and it's just like there's got to be a better way. So I'm going to start looking into like an official software and see what I can find out with it. I'd like to add some help again. I'm kind of itching for it. So whether it's a VA, an in-person helper, or an intern to help with, social media or something, I definitely would like to add a helper in 2021. It's going to depend a lot on the state of the world at that time, but I would really like to kind of add another person in the mix. And I put question mark for my storage unit. Perhaps I will get my storage unit back. We'll see. Maybe a bigger one, maybe a smaller one. Who knows? But I'll have the whole year to figure it out. And I put it on the list as an accomplishment. I guess it's not really an accomplishment, but like a thing I'm going to tackle in 2021. And then there are just a couple milestones. You guys know I really like tracking milestones. Any small win I think is a reason to celebrate, especially when you have your own business. And these are some of the ones that I'm expecting to hit, and also that I may not hit, but I'm going to strive for. So the first is I will finally get my $100,000 on Poshmark. So it feels like it's taken forever, and it's really just because I've been so inconsistent. I mean, I pulled everything off of Poshmark thrifted wise and since March. So Poshmark has just been my boutique, and so it's gone a little bit slower because I haven't been putting the time and effort into it. When I first started, I was selling low value things. So I've never really gotten the major momentum that I needed to hit that $100,000 in what I feel is a good amount of time. I'll be going into, this is my 4th/5th year. It's a shame that it's taken me this long, but it's my life and it's my business and it's what happened. So I'm looking forward to hitting 100,000 definitely in the coming year, and we'll see what happens after that. I should also hit $30,000 on ThredUP. It may be a stretch, but I'm approaching the $9,000 mark now. So I feel like in 2021, I should probably hit 30. I thought about making it 50 and really trying hard, but I said, no, we don't know what's going on. I don't want to say something that's so crazy. I think it's doable to hit 25,000 followers on Instagram. I don't really pay attention to this. After I hit my 10, I really didn't worry so much about the numbers. I enjoyed the experience of being on Instagram more. I'd like to spend more time on Instagram, and I do think that seeing that metric go up validates the work you put into it. And so I don't look at it as a vanity thing, like, oh, I have so many followers. It's that many people want to know what I have to say. And to me, that's never going to get old, and I'm never going to take that for granted, because it's not that I look down on myself, but I just find in my own little non-glamorous world that people find value and choose to follow the things that I share, and that means a lot to me, and I think about it often, and it means a lot. So that's a number that I'd like to get to that kind of validates that experience. 50,000 views a month on YouTube. It's never happened. I haven't even passed, I think, 21,000 views a month on YouTube. So I'm going to really try hard, because YouTube has been one of those things that I love so much. I didn't realize I was going to love it so much when I started back in 2018, or 2019. Well, I don't know. It's going to be 2 years this coming, even know. But like, I didn't know how much I was going to love it. I didn't know how it was going to work. It's gone up, it's gone down, and it's sometimes the thing that has to get shoved to the side when mom life, is more important. But I feel like if I really can continue to be consistent and really try to think about things that you guys want to know about and make good videos, that I could grow my channel. And so I would love to get to 50,000 views a month on YouTube. That's not going to be $50,000, not at all. um, and 10,000 YouTube subscribers. I'm hoping that I'll hit 5 before the end of this year, so I don't think it's completely unreasonable to think that I would hit 10 next year. And again, it's not about the number, but the validation that the number represents of the work that I've put in and the community that I build and the relationship that I have with you guys that really makes me feel good. And means something to me. So it's not just a number thing. It's like I think about all of you guys, even though I don't know all of you guys, I do think about the people that spend the time to watch the video. I think, so that's everything for me. And then I would really like to know, because I think it will help inform the kinds of content that I put out going forward in 2021, and even a little bit this year, like what are your goals? Like what are you striving for? What are your milestones that you think you're going to accomplish that you're trying to accomplish? You know, is it $100,000 on Poshmark? Is it $10,000 on Poshmark? Is it what is it? And then what can you focus on? Like, so you can have all these goals and we can say all this stuff, but then you can pick like one thing that you can focus on. And when you get it, then you can pick the next thing and focus on it. I mean, I think for me, it's going to really be focusing on getting my Rebecca the Reseller brand and all of it kind of figured out so that I can keep documenting what I'm doing in the reselling and making it valuable for you, because I get joy out of bringing it to you and having that community and that communication. For me, that's very exciting and it makes the reselling more fun, because I've told you before, I don't particularly love the reselling. So that is a means to you guys, and I'm enjoying that. So that's the area that I'm going to focus on. And I would love to know these things from you in the comments below. So like the video, leave the comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I would love to see you guys again. I hope that you have a great rest of the year. Obviously, this is not me not seeing you for the rest of the year, but as we start doing all of these wrap up kinds of things, I hope that you end the year strong. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.